Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is the first game in the series to be released on console. It is a top-down ARPG and it features 3 acts with unique enemies that the player must defeat along with doing quests in order to beat the game. And that is exactly what I will be doing in this video to continue my journey of beating every single PlayStation 2 game ever. The first thing you do is pick your character. You have 3 choices: human archer, dwarven fighter, or elven sorceress. I of course chose the dwarven fighter. I mean, just look at him. Wouldn't you be scared of this guy if you were a monster? We arrive in Baldur's Gate, hoping to find fame and fortune. We immediately get a warm welcome from the locals. These thieves stole my gold, but they were interrupted by the watchmen before they could kill me. They say to stay off the streets at night and that I should seek shelter in the tavern, where somebody may know where to find the thieves so I can get my gold back. After talking to the bartender, I learned that the thieves hide out in the sewers. Conveniently, there's an entrance to the sewer in the basement of the tavern, but the basement is filled with giant rats. So she offers me the key to the sewer and some gold if I take care of the rat problem. I got the basement key and a dagger from Ethon, a regular at the tavern, and went in. Once in the basement, I found the first of many save points. They allow you to respawn at the last one you used if you die. I don't know if it's because I played on easy, but there are so many save points. Some were so close that there was only about 5 minutes of gameplay between them. It seemed like a little much. Then, in true gamer fashion, I start to destroy everything I can. The breakable objects can drop various trinkets, gold, and potions. These include health, mana, and recall potions. Health and mana are self-explanatory. Recall potions teleport you between the main hub and your last save point. They come in handy when you want to use the shop to buy or sell items. Carrying on, I began to kill rats. These enemies are really easy to kill. It only takes 1 or 2 hits. After a few rooms, I found my first chest. Chests can contain weapons, armor, potions, gold, or a combination of those items. In my experience, they're mostly for gold, as most of the weapons and armor I got were never better than what I had. Gold is always nice though. After not too long, I killed all the rats and returned to the tavern to get my reward. I got my gold and the sewer key. I also got enough XP to level up and I took my first look at the upgrades. These contain what you'd expect: more health, more armor, more damage, more mana, and new attacks. Each time you level up, you get 1 more upgrade point than the last level. So, the first level, you get 1 point. The second, you get 2 points. The third, you get 3 points, etc. The bartender also mentioned that Ethon had gone into the sewer looking for me and he hadn't come back, so I had to go back to the basement and get to the sewer and rescue him. Back in the basement, I find more enemies. They kinda look like rats that have evolved and are able to walk on 2 legs and use weapons. I'm not really sure what they are, but they're easy to kill, so are the spiders. I continued to fight until I found the sewer entrance and went in. A cutscene plays where we see Ethon being held captive by the thieves. Then it was time for more killing. There were a lot more enemies here than in the basement. This is when I learned the power of the health potions and the importance of breaking all the boxes to get more. You're able to instantly use them with R2 and they just help so much. I also learned the power of using a shield to block attacks. You can only equip a shield with a one-handed weapon, but they are so powerful. They are able to block all the damage from ranged and melee attacks. Soon, I came across a wall full of spear-throwing enemies. They were guarding 3 levers that I needed to use to open a door. After trying to take them on, I got destroyed and realized that I probably needed a bow. So I went back to the tavern, bought a bow, went back, and was able to take them down from a distance. This is one of the few times that I recall actually needing a bow. I know I used one a few times later on, but for probably 95% of the enemies, I just used melee attacks. They just weren't as useful. Right after that is a section that requires you to jump across boxes and over a wall. Is it just me, or does being able to jump in a game like this just feel weird? I'm not saying I don't like it, I just feel like most games from a top-down perspective, you can't jump. Or I'm just completely wrong because I never play games like this. Can somebody please let me know if I'm completely wrong, because I'm actually curious. Anyway, I went on to do more killing and looting until I came across the Bugbear Chieftain, the first boss. It was very easy. I killed all of his minions and then I fought him. It was just like a basic enemy but with more health. I got the prison key from Bugbear and freed Ethon. Before capture, he managed to take a key from a thief that unlocked the next level of the sewer. So I went deeper to continue my quest for revenge. Just like level 1, I began to kill enemies and loot chests. This is where I learned that there are attacks that you could not block with a shield. There are these slime blobs that shoot goo at you from a distance, and using the shield had no effect against it. I never found a way to avoid damage from these attacks. I just tried my best to avoid them and use health potions when needed. After killing a lot of enemies, I found the entrance to the crypt. I went in and started killing the undead. I soon come across Fade, a priest who tells me about the orb of the undead, which is responsible for filling the crypt with zombies and skeletons. He asked me to help destroy the orb. I agree quickly and continue deeper into the crypt. While killing the undead, they occasionally just vanish in a glow of light. I have absolutely no idea why. I guess they just didn't want to fight me anymore. I don't know, they're gone. Then I leveled up again, but this time it was different. Every 4 levels, you were able to increase one of your abilities. These are very similar to the other upgrades. They include more damage, more health, more armor, more XP, and better shop values. Then came a room where I needed to put 3 vases on 3 pressure plates to open up the next level of the crypt. Crypt level 2 is just more of the same stuff, killing a bunch of enemies and more looting, until I finally found the orb and managed to easily destroy it, after which we learned that the Thieves Guild had put it there. Then we return to the tavern where we meet Jarek, a member of a group that protects realms from evil. He invites us to join them in destroying the Xantham Guild of Thieves. We agree, and he tells us where to find the secret entrance to the guild located in the sewer. I didn't follow the directions very well, so I kinda got lost. However, that led me to discovering that there was a minimap. It took me 2 hours to figure that out. I don't know how. I even looked at the controls earlier, but I guess I just completely missed it. All you need to do is press L1 and it brings up the map and you can change the size. So with the use of my new tool, I was able to find the secret entrance. Here I came across human enemies for the first time. These guys were actually a little tough because they kept coming at me many at a time and my armor wasn't the best at this point, so they dealt a lot of damage. Thankfully, I had plenty of health potions. Then I got to the gauntlet. This involved several sections of dodging traps, jumping gaps, and killing enemies. This area is a prime example of there being so many save points. After every single section here, there was a save point. For me, it just took away any pressure of dying, so it just made the whole thing seem way easier. I managed to get to the end of the gauntlet where I came across Karn. He is the right hand man to the guild leader and one of the thieves who robbed me. With the help of more health potions, I was able to take him down. I then went even deeper where I was met with even more traps to avoid, including these eyeballs that spin around and fire at you if you get in their eyesight, and if they hit you, you just get obliterated. They were actually pretty easy to avoid though. After getting past the rest of the traps, I find the guild master, the beholder, Xantham. This fight started out hard because he used magic, and up until this point I had not yet faced magic, so I had to learn what each attack did. At first I tried using a bow, but my bow was very weak and dealt basically no damage, so I got wrecked. On my second try, I decided to charge him and just spam health potions, and that worked like a charm. When I was up in his face, he didn't use any magic, so he did way less damage, and my melee weapon hurt way more than my bow, so I was able to kill him with ease. Then Jarek shows up and tells me to enter the portal that Xantham was guarding. I went through, entered the Sunset Mountains, and began Act 2. Here we must fight a lot of enemies while making our way across the mountain. I don't see the need for this section being so long and having so many enemies. There's barely any loot here and it just kept going. It was basically killing non-stop for 10 minutes until finally making it to a dwarf mining village. Here I talked to Torgir, where I learned that elves had attacked their mine and forced them to collapse all but one entrance. They also sent some of their people to light a signal fire on the mountain to get help from nearby dwarven clans, but they have not returned. The dwarves from the mountain also have the mine key, so they can't get back in if they wanted to. So now we have a new quest of taking back the mines. We start by going to the base of the mountain where we kill a bunch of wolves before starting to head up the snowy peak. After a lot of killing, we get to the summit and begin to explore. It comes to a point where there are 3 paths to go. I chose the west path first. I come across a long winding path with a lot of enemies. Eventually, I found a cave and got a piece of flint for the signal fire. Then I went all the way back and went into another cave where I found a survivor. He tells me that the dwarf with the mine key is at the signal fire and he has been frozen by an ice dragon. Then he gives me an oil flask and I go to the east path. Here I again kill more enemies and find a torch to light the fire. With all the parts needed, I head to the peak. Here there are balls of lightning blocking the path. I assumed you couldn't kill them because they were balls of lightning, but it turns out you can. You just attack them like any other enemy. They were annoying though because if you get close to them, they shock you and they hurt a lot. But I managed to take them out and get to the signal fire. I lit the fire and melted the ice off the dwarf to get the mine key. With the key in hand, it was time to enter the mine and clear out the drow. I'm going to speed the story up a bit because it's basically just killing a bunch of enemies and looting a bunch of chests. So, in the mine, I killed a lot of spiders and priestesses while going deeper until I came across the drow priestess. She threatens me, so we fight, and with the power of health potions and a strong sword, I kill her. I then freed a dwarf and he told me about another portal in the mountains. He also says that monsters are planning on using that portal to attack Baldur's Gate from within the city. So now we have to go find that portal. Start by fighting through the forest to get to a big ice cave. Then, you guessed it, I go room to room, killing a bunch more enemies. I came across some giants that were actually kind of scary at first. I assumed that they would be hard to kill, but I was wrong. Fighting them one-on-one was way easier than fighting a group of small enemies. So they immediately got way less cool to me. Nothing else exciting happened until I got to the end of the cave where I found the dragon and the portal. At this point I learned that bosses were actually pretty easy if you just charge them and spam attack and then use health potions when you need to, so the fight was no challenge at all. With the dragon dead, the portal activates and I head through. Just like the beginning of Act 2, Act 3 starts with a long section of non-stop killing. It starts with heading underground and then you come out to a swampy area. Here there are a bunch of zombies and when you kill them they release deadly gas, which adds a small element of difficulty. Eventually I found Sess'sth. It tells me all about the Onyx Tower and its deadly inhabitants, including Eldrith the Betrayer, who has sworn vengeance against Baldur's Gate. He also says that his people are serving Eldrith and he will give me any supplies I need if I help him take down the tower. So I began to do just that. I started killing the lizard folk and I soon find the most annoying enemy in the game, the wizard lizards. First of all, they use magic so you can't block their attacks, and then when you get close to them to try to kill them, they just run away. They're faster than you so you can't even catch them, so it's annoying to kill them. Anyway, I make it to a castle and go inside. I fight through more lizards until I find Sess'sth, the leader of the lizards. This was another easy fight. All I did was run circles around him and hit him from behind. Now it's time to go to the Onyx Tower. To get there, I had to go through a small tower, then go through a portal to get to the main tower. This is the best part of the game if you're like me and you just want to have stronger loot. The tower is filled with chests that give you better loot than you have seen in the entire game. Also, most of the breakables drop potions and arrows. Here there are bats and big guys in suits of armor, and every floor they get bigger. But just like the giants from earlier, they look much scarier than they actually are. This tower was a breeze, especially because you just keep getting better loot so you get stronger after each floor, so it just gets easier as you go rather than getting harder. Except towards the end where there were these unkillable fire enemies. At least I think they're unkillable because I never found a way to actually kill them. Also, I think the tower was way longer than it needed to be. It took me over an hour to go through it and I feel like if the floors were smaller, it would have been a better experience. Towards the top, there's a huge guy that when killed drops the Onyx sword. And that sword is actually the only weapon that can damage the final boss. Right before the final fight, I met Celadon. He tells me all about Eldrith. To sum it up, she was once the greatest general for Baldur's Gate, and after defending the city from the Black Horde, she defied orders and decided to try and kill the rest of the Horde. However, they were stronger than she thought, so she requested backup, but backup never came. Her army has been defeated and she was angry, so she ordered the remaining troops of her army to attack Baldur's Gate. She again lost this fight and her entire army was killed along with her. Somehow, her rage was so strong that she came back to life and created the Onyx Tower, which gave her access to the portals. So she created an alliance between the thieves, the elves, and the lizard folk to try to take down Baldur's Gate. If I manage to kill her, the tower will be destroyed and all the ghosts in it will be freed. So basically, she's a very rude lady, and I have ruined her plan for revenge. And now I will kill her to finally end her attempt of revenge. Did you get all that? That was a lot of information. I guess it doesn't really matter, just trust me when I say I'm doing a good thing right now. I fight Eldrith and kill her very easily. She then dies for good and I enter the portal that she was defending as it was the only way out. Then it turns out that Sess'sth is actually working for a higher power and he manipulated me into doing their dirty work.
And thus, in a storm of fire and lightning, Eldrith died her second death. But it was all part of a much larger design.
It is done. Eldrith is undone. And her threat to us and our plans has been ended. And the Harper that defeated her, killed. Now we may continue without interference, Master.
And then we emerge in a forest surrounded by some spooky beings and the game comes to an end. This game took me 8 hours and 25 minutes to complete, bringing my total time to 32.5 hours. This game is very different from what I usually play, so it was a new and fun experience. I liked killing enemies and getting stronger loot as time went on. I liked that each area had unique enemies and environments. The only problem for me was that there really wasn't much difference in the gameplay itself. In the first act, there were some unique ideas with the platforming, the levers, pressure plates, and dodging the gushing water. But then the next 6 hours just sort of blended together. It was just go to this area, kill enemies, then go to this area, kill more enemies, and then go to this area, and kill more enemies. Don't get me wrong, it was still fun, I had a good time, but it just really dragged on in my opinion. So I give the gameplay a 6 out of 10. I really enjoyed the story. It started with the classic story of an adventurer trying to become rich and famous and so stumbling upon the journey of a lifetime. I like how it started small with a simple tale of revenge, and then it turned into a much bigger quest of saving the city and all of its inhabitants. I give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you made it this far, thank you. Please tell me your thoughts on this video because I just want to improve more and more as time goes on. I really hope that you will consider joining me on this challenge, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.